Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited today to speak with a very decorated fencer, an Olympian, Mr. Ivan Lee, who's currently the head coach of Long Island University's fencing team. Ivan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Excited to speak with you, man. So I want to start off from the beginning, kind of how you got exposed to fencing. Obviously, you have a very decorated career. I want to talk about, what made you fall in love with the sport and stick with it, and some of the highs of your experiences as a competitor.
Sure. I've been fencing almost 30 years. Got started at the Peter Russell Foundation when I was about 10, 11 years old, along with a lot of great fencers, Keith Smart, Aaron Smart, and some of the guys that are on the current Olympic team, Khalil Thompson, Yasser Ramirez, Curtis McDowell, Darryl Homer. I got started just like all of them did as a young kid, just learning something new. And my mother got me involved in it, and she just said, just try it, see if you like it. I tried it. It stuck. I enjoyed it. Just decided to stick with it, fenced throughout high school. Got a scholarship to St. John's and fenced there for 4 years, had a really good career there. Continued to train, qualified for the 14. Won a few national titles, junior world title, Pan Am, and all that good stuff. So, really thankful for the career I've had, and now I'm into coaching, and it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, I can imagine. I remember starting out fencing, coming to the Peter Westbrook Foundation, and seeing you guys, like you mentioned, you, Keith, Kamara James at that time, some of the other fencers who were just incredible, and it just opened my eyes. Ben Bratton, to a whole nother level of fencing and competition. So you guys were always on another level. So, I'm excited to see kind of how your career, transitioned and went on. So can you talk a little bit about, I guess, at what point you decided to move from competing as your primary focus into, thoughts of coaching?
So coaching for me was something that I never really wanted to do. It wasn't something that I planned on doing. I really enjoyed being a referee, to be honest with you. When I stopped fencing in 08, when I stopped competitive fencing in 08, I had already been knee deep into reffing, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to competitions and just seeing things from a different perspective, making the calls. And the best part about reffing is that I didn't have to care who won or lost. After spending so many years dealing with the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, dealing with the pressure of always wanting to win, always trying to be the best, and always trying to be on top, it was refreshing to just get to enjoy the sport from a different perspective and not have to care about who won or lost. My job is to go there, make the calls, and go home. And so reffing was fun. I enjoyed it. It was my way of staying involved in the sport, getting to see my friends, and just kind of enjoy the sport from a different perspective. You get to see some really, really quality bouts if you make it to the highest levels of the sport as a referee. And so that was pretty much my way of staying involved and giving back. And so I did that for a long time, and coaching was just the last thing on my mind. And then, completely unbeknownst to me, my predecessor, Mike Corona, who was the founding coach at LIU when LIU was out at CW Post in Long Island, it was a D2 program. I believe they started back in 2014. When Long Island University decided to merge the Post and the Brooklyn campuses and jump from D2 to D1, he decided to step down. And he recommended to the leadership there that they hired me to succeed him. And so they reached out to me and made me a really good offer. And, I thought about it, and it was just like, I don't know, coach is not really, something I always wanted to do, but I said, let's give it a shot and see what happens. And so, my competitive nature from being a fencer just kind of kicked in. And so just trying to approach everything from a competitive nature. And so far we've done pretty well. We managed to, boost up the roster. We're up to over 20 fencers on our team, a women's team. And this past season, we brought home our first national championship. Laura Fekete won Division I Women's Epee title. And it's a great accomplishment for her. She was my first international signing, so it worked out. And hoping to continue to do more of the same. We've been bringing in more fencers. I don't want to mention any names yet, but I got some major players headed to Brooklyn. So hoping to do a little bit more damage in the years to come.
Sure. We'll pay attention to the next few months, what happens in the next couple of years. But congrats on that success, that first national champion, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, people keep saying, it was COVID and all the top schools weren't there. And I said, listen, at the end of the day, anyone who didn't fence on the NCAA level just don't understand how much pressure that tournament is. And I've told people a lot of times, I fenced in every event on earth, everything. I fenced from a high school championship to NCAA to national championship to world championship to Olympic Games. I competed everything. NCAA is the hardest tournament I ever fenced. Wow. And it's the hardest tournament I ever refed. And it is an extremely tough tournament because it's the only tournament where you have to fence everyone else there. You can't avoid anybody. You have to fence the entire field. So, at the Olympic Games, we just watched the Olympic Games. Anyone who was watching, we watched last night, this morning, we watched, and you win 5 bouts. That's it. Tournament's over. 5 good bouts against people that you can beat, then you're an Olympic champion. 4 bouts and you're winning a medal. It's quick. But there are a lot of people that you don't see. There were 36 fences in the event, and Aaron Silagi, he won the tournament for his 3rd time, and it was great. 31 fences he didn't fence, or 30 fences he didn't fence. And that's the Olympic Games, and that's a tough tournament. Yeah. NCAA, you got to fence everybody. You got to fence everybody, 5 touches, and the only way you get to win is if you finish in the top 4. So that means you have to be not just fence a lot of 5 touches, but you have to be good in those 5 touches. And you finish 5th, you have no chance of winning. You got to get into the top 4. And then you got to win 2 really, really tough 15-touch bouts. So, COVID, it took a lot of schools out of the game last year. But Laura still had a tough challenge because she had to go through 2 Notre Dame girls who let's face it, these 2 girls were about as good as it gets, and she took both of them out. And there's an argument that could be made that had all the other Ivy League schools been there and the other big schools, Ohio States and all the other schools have been there, that those 2 Notre Dame girls could have still been in the top 4. And maybe Laura could have still been in the top 4. But the bottom line is she won. Yeah. And a win is a win. And yeah. I'll take it. Laura will take it. LIU will take it. And, we're aware that the pressure's on for this coming season. Yeah. Because a lot more schools will be back in action. But Laura's a fighter. She's tough. She's as tough as they get. She's definitely not a princess. She's extremely tough. And I have a lot of faith in her. I have a lot of belief in her abilities. And I think going into this coming season in the future, I think she's ready to show a lot of people that last year was no fluke. Yeah. She's really good. So we're definitely going to be training toward that, and along with the other fences that we have on our team, and some of the new fences that we have coming in, and we're looking to make a splash. I'm a very competitive person, so I'm just looking to get LIU on the map and turn them into a powerhouse, and let everyone know that we're a force to be reckoned with. And if you're on our way, we're taking you down, because that's the only way. That's the only way to do it.
So let me ask you, you made a good point. You've competed at every possible level you can compete at, the highest level, the Olympics, right? And coming into a new coaching position and, starting to bring in athletes to build your own team, how does that impact or influence the way you build your team or your coaching philosophy? You are very competitive, obviously, for all the success you've had. So how does that translate into your coaching approach?
Coaching, there's multiple components to this. So, the recruiting process is very difficult. It's very difficult trying to recruit because for several reasons. One, I'm in New York City, and there are 3 other big schools in New York City, right? You got your St. John's, you got your Columbia, you got your NYU. Obviously, we have City, Hunter, and Wagner. There's a lot of schools in the New York area. So it's very competitive. Obviously, we have some schools in New Jersey as well, Connecticut. There are tons of schools in Boston. This is obviously the largest region in terms of collegiate fencing in the nation. So it is very, very difficult to convince fencers to want to come to LIU. And, you know, prior to last year, a lot of people didn't know that we existed, right? So you know, trying to get the name out, get people to recognize our logo, the Sharks, you know, the blue and the yellow, trying to put it out there on social media and at the competitions and things like that. Recruiting is difficult, you know, and it's difficult to go up against schools who have been around for 56 years and have multiple team titles, you know. Some of the coaches can just come up to you and say, hey, listen, you know, look how many national titles we have. You know, if you join my team, you know, you're going to win a national championship before you graduate, you know, and then you have the Ivy League schools on top of that. And a lot of the kids, you know, their parents are telling them from when they're 5 years old, you know, you're going to this school, you're going to this school. So they already have that mindset. So when you put all those things together, it makes it very challenging to recruit. However, you know, recruiting just like anything else. If you put your mind to it and you do your research and do your homework and you're willing to go places and you know, gather information and evaluate and pay attention to who's who and what's what, you can find people. That's how I found Laura. That's how I found some of the other girls that we brought in nationally and internationally, and that's how I found some of the people that we're going to be signing in the next couple of weeks. And you know, you got to take your job seriously, like anything else. You got to be aggressive. You have to be willing to you know, put your school's name out there and sell the program, sell the school, sell downtown Brooklyn, which I can do because that's where I'm from. You know, Brooklyn's the greatest place in the world, so I can easily sell Brooklyn. You know, and convince people that this is a place where they can come and their dreams can come true. You know, and I'll tell anybody, if you come to LIU, you know, you're going to get an opportunity to fence. You're not going to ride the bench. You're not going to be sitting around there just being the last person on the team and just hope the team is successful. No, you're going to be a part of our family. You're going to be a part of what we do, and you're going to get a chance to shine. And that's what I hope I've been able to do with the current team, and that every member of the team feels as though they're part of the family. Every member of the team feels as though they're contributing. And whether they start every meet or they come off the bench or whatever it is, they know that they have a role to play. They know that they have a purpose on the team, and they know that they're helping to contribute to team success. And so, you know, me being alone and not having a staff and just by myself, you know, I rely heavily on the leaders. You know, I have 2 team captains, I have multiple squad leaders, I have student athlete reps, administrator. You know, everyone has a role. Everyone has a function on the team. So when I need stuff done, so-and-so, I need you to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And everyone does their job. So that way, you know, they know that they have an important role to play. They're a part of something that's positive, and they're contributing to our success. And you know, Laura's championship is a championship for all of us. It's a championship for the entire team because, you know, and Laura will be the first to tell you, nobody does this alone. You know, nobody wins everything. All these titles and stuff I got behind me, I didn't do it alone. A lot of the people that you see in these pictures, they get the credit too. You know, the coaches, the teammates, the support staff, the family. And so that's kind of my approach to coaching. And obviously that's the stuff, that's the intangible stuff. The tangible stuff is the X and O's. It's time to sit down. It's time to get your foot straight, get your hand up. We're doing footwork, advanced retreat, lunge. We're working. We're working harder than anybody else because competition day is going to be our day off. That's going to be the easiest day of the week, you know? So that's pretty much my approach. And, you know, so far so good. You know, I'm never satisfied with where we are. Always looking to do better, but so far so good. So.
Yeah. That's one thing that's been common with the other coaches I've talked to. They've talked about the importance of building that strong culture and that family unit, that community with their team. And you mentioned something I thought was really important with you're selling your program, right? Especially as one of the programs in a congested area, congested region, you're trying to sell that program to potential recruits. But on the other side, they're also trying to sell themselves to you as a coach and as a potential contributor to your team. So can you talk a little bit about, you know, some of the things that you're looking for when you're thinking about or looking at potential fencers to continue building the program you're trying to build?
Absolutely. So I'm in a unique situation, and I don't know, maybe there are other coaches who are kind of in a similar boat. But when you take a job as a coach, you're pretty much, you answer up to your athletic director. Your athletic director is the boss. They tell you what they want. In my particular situation, I was tasked with the responsibility of keeping a decent sized roster. Our roster size has to be at 20 or above. And that's the number that I was given. So when I first got the job, we had 8 girls on the team. So, yeah, and they were like, oh, we kind of want to get the roster size up to 20. And I scratched my head. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of people we got to bring in. I said, all right, well, no, I'll get it done. And they was like, well, no, we'll give you a couple of years. We know it takes some time. I said, no, I'll get it done by September, no problem. And I did, and within 5 months, I managed to bring in 13 girls. And went from 8 to 21 from the time I got hired to the start of my first season.
Wow.
My start of my first full season. And so, I had to find people. We had to find people. I was going to high school events, going to NACs. I'm looking, and finding people. So when I first started, I was looking for people. I was like, anybody interested in LIU? Let's go. I'll take you. You know how to lunge? I'll take you. Obviously, I can't have that approach all the time. At some point, I have to think about balance, right? We got 3 weapons. I can't overload on one weapon and be depleted in another. So I try to keep, the numbers at around 7 per weapon. That puts me at 21. That satisfies the university, what they want, but at the same time gives me a healthy balance. If I have a fencer that does 2 weapons, that's a big value to me, because if someone goes down to 1 weapon and you can do 2 weapons, then maybe I can have somebody switch and do another weapon. So, you see that a lot with the kind of foil and epee. You get some fencers that can do both. Sometimes foil and saber, they do both because of the right of way thing. Very rarely do you have someone who does epee and saber, but, versatility is big. Obviously, they're student athletes. Student comes first. So, I'm looking for someone who's obviously not going to be an academic liability. Let's put it that way. More important than them having a good regular season, it's very important for me, for us, I should say, to have a high GPA. High GPA. Last year they pulled in a 3.5. This year a 3.57. So they've been right where I wanted them to be. Obviously they always do better, but I'm very pleased with their academics so far. So they've done a tremendous job in that regard. Obviously, it's great to have successful fencers, but I do enjoy having, I enjoy getting my group of walk-ons because then I can teach, and teaching is that's what I do. It's what I love doing. Bringing in hired guns, so to speak, bringing in superstar talent is great, because you just add her and stir, and they just go out there and just beat everybody, and it makes life easy. But teaching and starting from scratch and teaching the on-guard position, teaching advanced retreat lunge, how to extend properly, how to take a proper parry post. Why are you taking the parry post? How do you set it up? How do you get the person to make the mistake so that you can score? Teaching that, I enjoy that. And then watching them go out and compete and execute what they learn and seeing their face light up like, oh, wow, this works. Okay, I can do that. And then seeing their confidence rise. That has been probably the biggest enjoyment. So, I'm not the kind of coach that just goes out there and just looks for, you got to be ranked in the top 10 of the country. You got to have an A rating, and you got to have I'm looking for people who know how to be part of a team, who understand teamwork, who understand citizenship, who understand cooperation, who are going to keep their grades up, and who are willing to do what it takes to help the team continue. So, and at the end of the day, I still got to keep the roster size 20. So, I'm like I said, my focus is slightly different than a lot of the other coaches, but finding that balance, I think, is probably the most challenging part of my job. And as I said, so far so good. It's only been 2 years. I got a long way to go, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more than doubling the size of the team in year 1 is pretty impressive. So kudos to the recruiting job and, taking that aggressive approach coming out of the gate. Let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but a little bit about how COVID challenged the team last year. You know, what kind of complications that presented, kind of how you navigated through that.
Yeah, I spoke with the university president, and she told us that, we were moving forward. Obviously get tested regularly, wear your mask, do what you have to do to stay safe. But we're proceeding on. We're not going to let this stop us. And she said, if you're ready to go, I'm ready. I'm ready for you to go. And I said, oh, okay, let's do it. Let's have a season. And I told the team, I said, listen, we're going to have a season. I know a lot of the schools are stepping out. Ivy League was stepping out, and a lot of other schools are stepping out. We're going. So get ready to throw down in September. We're going to start practicing. We're going to start training. We're going to do what we have to do. We mask up. We get tested. But, we're going to compete. We're going to have a season. And girls, they were all for it. They were all for it. They were ready to go. We did what we had to do. We managed to make it through the season. And we survived the season, and we ended up with 3 All-Americans and a national championship. So it was great. I'm hoping and I'm optimistic that things get better this season. Hopefully we have a lot more competition, a lot more schools returning, which I'm pretty sure will be the case. But we're gonna proceed. We're ready to go. We're gonna do everything we have to do to stay safe. We understand that different schools have different protocols in terms of competition, and we're prepared to do what we have to do. But we're gonna proceed this year just as we did last year. Gonna let this stop us. We're ready to throw down. I told the girls September 9th is our first meeting. Don't be late for practice. We're ready to throw down. So.
Right around the corner. So looking forward to the next season. Speaking of which, how do you spend, obviously, you're doing recruiting and planning for the current team that you have for next year, but what do you do for the off season? How do you spend your time as a coach during the off season?
Recruit.
Okay.
That's the main thing. Obviously talking to a lot of people and trying to stay in with the rules, right? Because the rules are like, I got the book. The book is like this thick. What you can do, what you can't do, who you can talk to, who you can't talk to, when you can talk to them, when you can't talk to them. August 1st is coming around the corner, so I'll be reaching out to a lot of people who I can now speak to. I wasn't able to speak to last year, and that sort of thing. And just making sure that I'm reaching out to as many people as possible, that they are aware that we're around, that we're aware of what we're trying to do, that we're constantly trying to build the program. We have scholarship money. We are looking to add a lot of talent to this team. And answering a lot of emails and Zoom meetings going on, and going to the competitions, scouting talent, and just being as aggressive with that as possible. I also coach privately at Long Island Fencing Center out in Carl Place on Island. So I got a bunch of little kids, a bunch of little 2028 and 2032 hopefuls that we're looking to get on a competitive level. And I got a couple kids who are a little older who are looking to start going to national tournaments. I've been coaching there for just about 2 years right now as well. So it's new, giving lessons and running group classes and running them into the ground, kind of like I did, when I was a kid growing up. And you kind of, we always teach the way we were taught. So I kind of just throw a lot of things that were instilled in me by the previous generations before me, and just trying to get the kids on that competitive level, get them to understand the importance of working out, stretching, eating properly, drinking their water, staying hydrated and resting, and then, getting their mind right for competition. The way you practice, the way you're going to perform, the way you prepare, that's the way you compete. So, if you come to practice, you don't take it seriously, you get your butt whipped in the next competition. You show up in practice and you're ready to throw down, you're ready to go to war with everybody, then, competition day, you'll be ready to go. So, I'm coaching all year round. So, when I'm not at LIU, I'm at LIFC coaching, and, just answering a lot of emails, doing a lot of recruiting, trying to constantly bring in people, stay in contact with the incoming senior class. I'm in high school now, so that we can try to get some people going for next year. And it doesn't stop. Yeah, I put a lot of hours into this, and but when you take something seriously, you expect good things to happen. So staying optimistic, hoping for the best.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're building the program the right way. So I'm sure success is imminent as it's already started. Before we wrap up, I guess one last question for you. I understand that you're a part of a committee that is, a fencing coaches association, essentially, looking to make some changes or developments with the sport on the collegiate level. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of your goals with that or anything exciting happening there?
Yeah, so basically the College Coaches Committee right now works with the U.S. Fencing Coaches Association. I'm on that committee along with Zach Moss and Josh Runyon and Juan Ignacio Calderon at UCSD, Vince Paragano at Drew. I said Zach Moss at Northwestern, Jenny Salmon at Brandeis, Bruce Gilman at Vassar. So we have a good group of obviously some newbies like myself and some more seasoned veteran coaches, and just looking to give the college fencing coaches more of a voice in the coaching community. Obviously, coaching is a completely different ballgame than fencing, and it's important that the coaches do have a voice, so that when if there's certain changes that we'd like to see on the NCAA level, we're united and we're organized. We have a voice that would be better respected in the NCAA, in the eyes of the NCAA, and eyes of USA Fencing. And so, some of the things that have been brought to the table include maybe realignment of the divisions and sort of a recalculation of how we determine who qualifies for NCAAs and the qualification process and things of that nature, and other things maybe in terms of awards that we give out postseason and things of that nature. So there's certain things that they're trying to do to kind of modernize the way we do things, and I'm all for it, and definitely looking to see what changes that we can make. But again, it's a brand new journey for me. I'm learning a lot every day. I'm learning a lot being on that committee, learning a lot every practice. I'm learning from my students. They teach me so much. It's amazing how much, I've been in the sport for so long, and there are things that I picked up from my own fencers that I use, now as a veteran fencer. I just turned 40, so I'm a veteran saber fencer now. I'm back in the competition. Won my first vet NAC last month, and I'm going to national.
I saw that.
Man, I'm going to nationals next month. So I'm not playing. I'm back in it. So and I train with my students. I give them lessons and then hook up and fence with them and beat them up all night. And some of them bring it to me. Some of them bring it to me. I got a couple kids who can go right back and forth with me every single time.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a good workout, but I'm learning. That's what keeps me in. I'm learning. It's a constant learning, and if you're not learning, then you're not really doing it right. So I'm learning from my students. I'm learning being on the committee, learning the administrative side, the political side of things, and then obviously for my students, just learning learning more about the competitive aspect. It's amazing when I bring in some fencers from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and they share their experiences with me on how they got involved in the sport. And I just sit there and sometimes I listen to them and I'm like, wow, we're all kind of here at the same time in the same place, but we all had completely different routes to get here. And so it helps you have a larger appreciation for how you came up in the sport and where you came from and how you made it to where you are. And that's one of the things I enjoy about coaching is, having a team as diverse as mine. Like English is not the only language spoken at our practices. If you're on my team, you're gonna hear, you might hear a little bit of Hungarian, you might hear some Spanish. I don't want to let the cat out the bag, but there are a couple other foreign languages you might hear. So I want people to know, oh, so and so, that's the girl I've been trying to get. Yeah, there'll be a few foreign languages you're gonna hear during practice. That you hear a little Russian. I'm gonna be honest with you. And coming September, there's gonna be another language you're gonna hear. But you guys will find out soon enough if you follow me on Instagram. You'll see who's signing pretty soon. But there are it's a hotbed of culture, and we all get to learn about each other. We all get to learn about our past and our background and our journey getting here. And that's what I love about this job. So we are looking to do big things moving forward. We do want to start a men's program down the line, and that's in the long-term plans, but it is something that we're looking to make happen. Obviously, we're looking to build a facility for our team, larger facility for our team. We have a pretty good facility now, but we're looking to upgrade. And obviously, just continue to bring in some heavy hitters and keep pumping out those champions by the pound. So I'm excited, and I'm really optimistic to see what the future holds, and I really appreciate you for allowing me to kind of put the Sharks, there you go, Long Island University Sharks, put us on the map, and hopefully anyone who's out there listening, LIU, we're in downtown Brooklyn, greatest place in the world. All right, we already have one champion. We got a lot more coming, and just really, really, really optimistic and positive about the future.
Yeah. Well, the sky's the limit, man. It starts with one, and there's no telling how many more can follow after that. So like I said, you're on the right path. I know the team and the program are in good hands with you. So no question in my mind that more success is on the way. And we'll be staying tuned for that journey with the program, but also with your veteran career at this point.
I'm just trying not to get hurt. I'm stretching every day. Trying not to get hurt.
For sure.
I ain't a young chicken no more, but I can still go.
I believe it. Well, I appreciate your time, Ivan. And we look forward to doing this in person at some point soon. So thank you again for sharing your experience, your wisdom, and we'll speak soon.
All right, good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.